My name's Scott Gearen. I am retired Air Force. Um, hey, Deb, can we start over?
No, no, actually, I think that's great. I think that you're doing a good job. Let me just let people know that today I'm talking to Scott. I want to give a little disclaimer that, again, the views, thoughts, and opinions expressed in this video belong solely to the speakers and not necessarily to the UAP Medical Coalition, its employees, volunteers, or affiliates. All medical references are for informational purposes only. This is not a consultation or a therapy session. This content can be triggering for some and is not meant for children. So now that I've done my disclaimer, Scott, please tell
All
people who
right.
you are.
Hi, Deb. My name's Scott Gearen. I'm retired from the Air Force after 22 years of active duty. I've done a few other jobs, primarily in the contracting world, and I have reached senior citizen status finally. So ready to slow down just a bit with work and have more fun adventures in the great outdoors and in the world we live in. Um,
Okay. And
Not
Scott,
sure.
thank you for giving us some of your background. For anyone who looks into Scott's background, he has an amazing background, actually, because he actually basically fell quite significantly from an accident. Um, I don't know if don't really need to go into that, but he survived that and he's an amazing person. So I wanted to jump from that background to asking if you could briefly tell us about your encounters with UAP.
All right. Well, thank you for those comments, Deb. It's very nice of you. So my encounters with UAP, I think early on, the encounters I had, I didn't know they were UAP. You know, as a kid outside in the evening with my friends playing, and suddenly we see this huge green object in the air and in the sky above us, and everybody was like screaming, "What is that? What is that?" And we all ran inside our respective homes because we were scared. Didn't equate that to a UAP. So that was about 6 years old. No, excuse me, about 10 years old. Um, I think later in life it wasn't so much an encounter directly as being at the same location. I was stationed at RAF Woodbridge in 1980. I was in Rendlesham Forest daily almost because we would, from our section, we would go down the back road and jump over the fence from the base. It wasn't a very big fence at the time, and we would run our morning exercise runs through the forest, through Rendlesham Forest. And so we were out there with other exercise maneuvers regularly. But I didn't see a UFO at that time, which is, a very big deal. But maybe I was in the vicinity at some time when something was going on out there. I don't know. Um, the next one that I saw some things in the sky, night sky. You see lights moving. Everybody does it sometime if you're looking up. Saw one light one night that made an extremely uh, amazing U-turn. It was traveling very fast and did a U-turn um, and went the other way, which I certainly thought that must have been some type of a secret government aircraft. And then, so that was probably about 2008. Then in 2019 was where I had the one that to me has been the most significant, and that was when I was in Panama City Beach, Florida, and I was staying in a hotel. I was doing a speaking event down there. So I was there for a couple of days, and it was probably about 11 o'clock in the morning. I was looking off the balcony because I was out there doing some exercises, and I saw glimpsed a bright light. And being my background in the Air Force and being familiar with airplanes and curious about what I do see in the sky because of the extensive uh, threat identification training that we get, so we know what we're looking at. My first thought was, is that an airplane? I quickly realized it's not moving horizontally or vertically or anything. It's not a aircraft, the typical aircraft that we would think of when we say airplane. So my next thought was, well, maybe it's a helicopter. And so I watched it, trying to decide, well, is it a helicopter? What is it? And then my gut feeling was, no, it's not a helicopter. It the way the brightness was going in and out, and the way it was moving, and it would disappear. It would stay in the same space, but then it would disappear, and then it would reappear. So I said, nope, it's whatever it is. It's weird. It's not something I've seen before, and it's not a helicopter. So that's when I started taking pictures. I had my cell phone, which I quickly took 20 or 30 pictures, a couple of short videos, and then I stepped back inside and got my other camera, which was a 6000 Sony with a 210 millimeter lens, and I started taking single pictures. And I did take a couple of videos with it. It was a brand new camera. I wish I would have been more familiar with it. I would have taken more, and I would have done a better job with the video. But anyway, I ended up taking about 100 pictures in sequence over the course of about 2.5 hours. And later that night, I I had to go not on a military base, but there were other military officers that were from the base, and I asked them. They were high ranking, colonels, pretty high rank in the military, and I asked them if they had heard anything or seen anything, and no, they hadn't. And uh, I don't know if they did or not, but they told me they did. And while I was on the balcony and watching it, I was looking around at the ground to see if anybody else was looking at this thing I was seeing. And I could see many people down on the beach and walking and playing um, volleyball and frisbee and in the pool, and nobody was looking up. So I was the only one that was looking at it and taking pictures. And then probably about 2 weeks later is when I downloaded them from my camera to a laptop and started enlarging them, which it shocked me when I saw what I had taken pictures of, because it again was like nothing I had ever seen. And my my gut feeling was it's possibly secret military activity, but it doesn't look like anything that I've ever seen or heard of. Not that that would mean that I should have seen it if it's something secret, but it was just so strange. And I really my instinct, my gut instinct was being in the military was if it's something from the military, I don't want to just share it around and say, "Hey, look, this is a secret military project." So I did contact somebody in the Air Force who s- gave I gave digital copies of the pictures to, and they sent them to an Air Force intelligence analyst that looks at pictures, imagery, and came back after a few weeks, and they said they didn't know what it was. They had never seen anything like it before, and they were going to send it to another agency that had a better capability to analyze things like that. So they did, and about 3 weeks later, I got word because I was pestering them regularly to say, "Hey, have you heard anything? Have you heard anything?" And they said, "Well, they said that it's a weather balloon." And that to me was kind of like, "Well, that's the same thing that's been said for 70 years." I don't believe it's a weather balloon because of the way it was acting. Well, it didn't float away, it didn't fly away like a weather balloon, and it didn't come to the ground. It just was up there in the air. So that's when I made a MUFON report, told a few other people. That report got picked up by a couple agencies, one being the British Earth and Aerial Mystery Society, and their speculation was that it was a crypto creature, which I had never even given that a thought or heard of it. But after having that analysis from them, it made me realize that it is quite possible that something could certainly live in the space, our atmosphere, or anywhere around us that we couldn't survive, just like in the 1 inch underwater we can't survive, much less what's at 10 miles below the ocean. Things survive there every day and we can't. So not many of us get the opportunity to go into space station, or to the moon. And we have, for the most part, we don't know what's up there. We only know what we're being told is up there. So I see a bird that flies in the sky, that flies very high, and there's no wall or barrier that prevents that bird from going into space other than its own capabilities, biological capabilities. But just like a fish can survive 10 miles below the water, maybe there are creatures, what we would call down here animals. Maybe there's some type of a life form like that, a crypto creature that does survive in our upper atmospheres, and we rarely see them. So anyway, I know I'm rambling off about other thoughts, but so that was certainly a big impact on me with that sighting. Um, and then I put them together in a book with my hypothesis, other people's hypothesis. And book is I called it "Hiding in Plain Sight." It was published in August of 2020, and it just after I published that book, um, I was introduced to an individual who also was prior military intel, and he's still working somewhere, not in active duty military, but he talked to me about a program. And I don't know what it was. He told me it was a software program that is used by the FBI. This person is not in the FBI, and he um, used this program on my pictures to enhance them the same way the FBI would enhance evidence. So it's the same picture, it's just less blurry than it was. The details are more amazing. And my feelings, I think maybe some of your questions are what I felt about it. It's that paradigm shift. It really um, made me think, what is that? Where did it come from? In all of my life growing up here in the world of, with Bible stories and different religions, but it's always here. There's nothing that we think about uh, reality of UAPs or UFOs, and now here it is in my face, and it's a bit shocking when you do have that experience. My friend that enhanced the pictures has had experiences. He also has access to other pictures. He said they were from satellite platforms that um, look back at the Earth and look at other planets and look at the sun. And he showed me some of those pictures, and we talked about what our mindset was like, the shock, the realization, and the acceptance of it. not really knowing what it is. Um, but it was an acceptance period. And I guess that's the paradigm shift to know that there is something else out there, that we're not alone. I
Mm.
listen to people in other podcasts like Lou Elizondo, and he talks about different aspects of it from, you know, ancient alien life forms or non-human intelligence. And the one time he used the word somber. And so that was like, somber? What does he mean, somber? Is he scared? So I mean, I wonder those things. But anyway, Deb, I'll quit talking and you ask questions.
Okay, well, I
Sorry.
thank you for telling us about your background and your experience with UAPs. I was wondering if in any of your encounters or your proximity to them, if you had any physical effects as a result of being near them.
I I don't know if I do. I don't think so. Other than having an accident that wasn't so much in close proximity to a UAP where I was injured severely. But later, and this was before the sighting in 2019, I I did start to develop an issue with my adrenal glands, and it's been kind of discussed that maybe it was due to my job, where your uh, your body goes through the phases of you're excited, you're scared, you're down, you're up, you're down, you're going out on a mission, you're going out on training, you're doing things that scare you, night scuba jumps in the North Sea or whatever it may be, or and you just get those rushes of adrenaline, and all the immune system is tied together. So it was kind of discussed that possibly that could be something from it, uh, to have the adrenal glands not function fully. But other than that, I mean, I really don't know of a, and I can't say that's directly related to it. It's just something that I have now. It doesn't affect me. I'm still leading a normal life, but
Mm.
um,
Okay. Did you ever, while you were trying to understand what you were seeing, in those pictures and the earlier encounter when you were, 10, did you ever seek therapeutic assistance?
no, I didn't. I guess that's the bottom line answer is no. I guess the closest I came to it was just counsel with fellow friends that had experiences such as that individual that enhanced the pictures, um, Sabrina, Rob, who was with MUFON as a field investigator
Right.
and prior Air Force, and has her own experiences that maybe someday she'll share.
Do you think the reason, that you did not want to seek therapeutic, assistance was because you did not feel like you needed it, or did you feel like the counseling with friends was adequate?
I never felt like I needed it from the prior incidents, and never, it was never something, I guess, as you grow up, all the different exposures you have from early childhood to shows like My Favorite Martian or Dream of Jeannie or Alf or different things like that, and then the movies, ET and Star Trek. So you kind of get this exposure, like, well, maybe it's possible. So it wasn't, um, and I never really related that to a real event, a real sighting. I was scared for a while and then got over it. But the one in 2019 did affect me more psychologically to question uh, being my own being. You know, who am I? Why am I here? How did I get here? You know, other than just a mother and father and being born. It's like, what is our purpose? What are we here for? So I guess those are kind of questions that really uh, were more prominent after that particular sighting in 2019, and more wonder about it. But I didn't think about counsel. I just felt like my very in-depth discussions that I had with those couple of friends were very helpful.
Did you ever have any psychosocial consequences? Any difficulties engaging with like family or friends regarding this or these encounters?
No, I didn't have any problem. Um, Certainly, um, I didn't really talk about it or share any of those stories with anyone until after my sighting experience encounter in 2019. And I've shared the pictures um, with quite a few people. Um, some of them I've given them to for somewhat safekeeping as well on digital hard drives, and also just to pull them up in a PowerPoint presentation and show them. And everybody that sees it has a wide range of, what am I looking at? I don't know what it is. It's scary. Um, to I'm still skeptic. I don't know what it is. So um, and then it's I don't talk about it every day to them. I know some friends and family that are more skeptic, and they don't really want to be inundated with me talking about just that. So um, hey, I happened. I shared my experience with them. I put my whole experience in that book, and it's not something that I need to reiterate to them every day.
Okay. Well, my last question is going to be, since this we're making this hopefully to educate people who are in the mental health profession or medical profession, is there anything that you would want to say to someone who has someone coming into their office with experiences like yours that you would want them to say or do to help that person?
I guess listen with an open mind. Don't judge them. Just because that particular medical person may not have ever had that experience doesn't mean it's a real experience. I would say that listening to them and being sincere and open minded. Um, Talk to them, let them tell you what they said, and I mean it's not something if they see something they can't prove it. Even with a picture, people don't believe it. So I mean, just just don't offhandedly not believe them or think they're a whack job or crazy. They've had an experience, they've seen something, and it's real to them. So you asked me let me backtrack. You said that I ever seek counsel, and I I I didn't. But what did help, and I mentioned that talking to my other close friends that I've met since I've had this experience, um, Twitter, for the most part, has been very helpful as well, which is now we know as X, but the UFO Twitter has been a good community to be a part of. I know there's many people in there that don't believe it, and um, there really has never been a sequence of pictures like I put in my book. People see something, a blurry object, they take a picture, and there comes out as a blurry object. I saw a blurry object, a bright blurry object, but I had a camera that was capable to stop the blur, fast shutter speed, and see the object. And people don't believe it because they've never seen it before. No way it can be real. The picture is 100% real. And anyway, I know I'm talking about, but I was talking about the Twitter being a useful community. A UFO Twitter has been a very useful community to be a part of to help, um, just accept it. And there's um, sections on there that are skeptical, and skeptical is fine, but don't just be so skeptical that you quit investigating. If you see something that is unusual and never been seen, maybe you should investigate it.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming today to talk about your experiences and for sharing, your journey of curiosity and trying to get information. And we really appreciate that you came to talk to UAP Med today. Do you want to tell people where they can find you if they want to reach out?
Certainly, thanks, Deb. On X, formerly Twitter, Scott Gearen at Scott Gearen, and with just a Google search with Scott Gearen, you'll find other social media, Instagram, Facebook. I have a personal website where I have quite a bit of my military experience documented there, along with a clip from Discovery Channel of the accident portion of my parachuting accident. So, if anybody's curious, they can certainly check those things out.
Okay. What is the URL for your website?
Say that again. Sorry.
The URL, the website, what is
Oh,
it so that
oh,
people
it's
can find it?
uh, just just www.scottgaren.com.
Okay. And okay, thank you so much. And for anyone interested, go ahead and go take a look. Scott has shared his book with me. He has amazing photos of very beautiful UAP. Thank you again, Scott, for sharing. We really appreciate it. And thank you to everyone who listened. Thank you.